Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Carter and Dave back from Zone Off-Road Products. We just got the Jeep Comanche back in the shop after 10 days on the ultimate adventure. Jeep did phenomenal, went everywhere we wanted to outside of a couple of mechanical issues we had to fix early on. But yeah.
Considering we only built it in 6 weeks, it was really a good shakedown of what was going to break and what wasn't. But let's get it up on the hoist and see what it looks like. As you can see, we finally got it up on the hoist here. The Mickey Thompson wheels, you can see, definitely took a beating, but really held up well. We actually had these tires aired down all the way to 3-4 pounds when we were in the rocks, just to test out how well those inner airlocks that we showed you really held the bead, and we really had no problems. These Trepadors from Maxxis really held up great. You know, when we see the sidewall, fully flexed out. Never tore one, never had any kind of puncture on the sidewalls. Really great traction. Really gave us a good footprint when we aired them down too. So very happy with those. Moving along here, you can see the body. That's about the extent of our fiberglass damage. We've got a little bit more in one other area, but we were really able to keep the body in pretty good shape, even though we went through a lot of tight, windy trails. We made this really massive bumper out back, and it definitely it came down hard a couple times. This one actually is probably the worst part, where it got dented up, but little rock rash is kind of what it's there for. Even the diff cover, of course, you're getting in the rocks, you're going to have problems with running into that. That's why we went with these Blue Torch diff covers, and didn't have any problems there either. Running Fox coilovers, we still need to do a little bit more fine tuning on those. We were limited on how much time we had to put this thing together, but that's the great thing, is we'll be able to go back and dial them in here later. You can also see that we had a giant hole in the bed that we never got a chance to fill in. Main thing there was going down the highway, you get exhaust fumes coming up through the cab because there is no rear window. It kind of puts you to sleep. But that's always good for you. The drive shafts held up great. You can see we even got ran on the rocks a little bit, but JE Reel puts together some pretty beefy products, and those worked out good, no problems there. Our control arms obviously rode up some pretty good rock ledges. Even the mounts got some pretty good rash on them, but again, nothing bent. Prototype joints we're using held up great. The belly pan's bowed up from running over those same obstacles, but again, that's what it's there for, and did a great job protecting the drive shaft and T-case. So definitely, if we had any kind of Achilles heel in the beginning of this trip, it would be this front axle. Mainly the U-joints. The first day we were going up a pretty gnarly hill climb with a lot of slick rocks on it because it got a lot of rain the night before, and popped a U-joint, and this is kind of the result of that. And it actually took out the inner and outer axle shafts along with it. Of course, when that happened, it spread out the ears to the point where it actually pressed out the lower ball joint and severely tweaked this upper C to where it basically screwed up the pressed in point on the upper C to where that ball joint doesn't seat properly. When we came to a stop, the tire was leaning like this, but actually our Reed Racing knuckles held up great. They didn't have any problems with those, but we are going to have to do something about the inner C here moving forward. Our big brake kit we touched on in the last post. Can kind of see how that turned out there at the last minute. Brakes worked great, no problems there. Steering actually held up great. We didn't bend that at all, but we do have a need for some upgraded steering. All we got here is the factory box. That's all we got a chance to get to. So that'll be an upgrade in the future, because when we were aired down to 5 pounds with 40-inch tires, certainly had something to be desired in terms of the steering power. This front suspension held up great. It was nice to be able to go 80 miles an hour down the road and not really have an issue with the handling. We could still tune the Fox coilovers a little bit more, which we'll be doing here in the future. So fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, we didn't get a chance to really use our brand new worn winch, but we did get a lot of compliments on our recessed winch carrier and bumper. We will be doing a lot more build-ups on this thing over the next following months, you know, things from like the steering to fine-tuning the suspension, so stay tuned and check that out. But if you want to see the thing in person, it will be at the PA Jeep Show next weekend in York, Pennsylvania, if you're going to be in that area.